All right, 6:30. I think we have everybody on. I've got Brenda, still need to light up your screen. There you go. Hi, Charlie, how are you?
Good evening, Mayor. How are you? And good evening, Commissioners.
Good. Welcome to everybody. I'm going to step up here and have to turn on my volume. Hang on a second. All right, we can get going on this, but before we do, this regular meeting of June 8th, I'm going to have Melody read into record statement on how we operate. Melody, it's yours.
Thank you, Mayor. So good evening. I just wanted to go over a couple logistics with regards to this meeting. For those participants who may not be very familiar, please make sure to keep your camera on while we are streaming live to YouTube and to mute yourselves while you're not talking. With regards to how board members are going to participate in the meeting, the mayor will be calling on you individually to provide comments and votes. When voting, please remember to identify yourselves by stating your name and your vote. If you would like to speak at any point during the meeting, please raise your hand and be mindful of your background. If we are in the middle of a presentation and you're raising your hand but not being called on, please feel free to speak up. Most importantly, we want to make sure that board members are able to participate in this meeting fully. So if you experience any technical difficulties, please make sure to just text me so that we can suspend the discussion. Next, we need to take the roll call. Please indicate if you are present. Mayor Ronald Pappas.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Brenda McMillan.
Present.
Commissioner Jason Hall.
Present.
Commissioner Ann Simpson.
Ann Simpson, present.
Commissioner Tracy Weslick.
Tracy Weslick, present.
Commissioner Pedro Morey.
Pedro Morey, present.
All right, thank you. All members are present. Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Melody. Appreciate that. All right, we are calling to order here the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners, June 8th, 2021, 6:30 p.m. Before we get going, if you could please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a brief moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. All right, we'll move down to the agenda, adoption of the agenda tonight. Any requested changes to the agenda tonight? All right, looking around the screen, seeing no hands, I'm going to look for a motion to adopt tonight's agenda as published. Do I have a motion?
So
Motion to
moved.
adopt to. Okay.
All right, so it kind of cut out of me, but I'll take, I think we had Commissioner Simpson with a motion to approve. Is that correct? Very good.
That's
thank you.
correct.
All right, roll call vote to adopt the agenda as published tonight. I'm going to start with Mayor Pro Tem.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Commissioner Morey,
Commissioner Morey, aye.
Commissioner Weslick,
Commissioner Weslick, aye.
Commissioner Hall.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Very good. And back to Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Very good. All right, so that motion is passed all the way through. We have in tonight's general public comments, we have no general public comments. So we're going to move down to the consent agenda. Do I have any changes or motion to adopt tonight's consent agenda as published? Oh, you all just raced to the finish line.
Motion to adopt tonight's consent agenda is published.
All right, thank you very much. We have a motion to adopt tonight's consent agenda. Going around the horn again. I'm going to start with Commissioner Morey.
Commissioner Morey, aye.
Commissioner Hall.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Commissioner Weslick.
Commissioner Weslick, aye.
Back to the Mayor Pro Tem.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Very good. Tonight's consent agenda is adopted. Thank you very much for that. We have recognitions tonight under item F. I'm going to jump up to our town manager, Jeff Wells.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everybody. So a big Waxhaw welcome to our new downtown director, Ashley Noble. She comes from halfway across the country in Missouri, where she worked for a 501 downtown Lee Summit, which was a 100,000 population suburb of the city of Kansas City, Missouri. Her parents are in the Raleigh area, and she wanted to get closer to family upon finding the right opportunity. And we're happy to say that that right opportunity for her was here. She stood out in our process, which included an interview panel of downtown program experts from neighboring communities. She was the right cultural fit with the right knowledge and experience necessary to take our downtown program to the next level. So want to just take a moment to give her a warm Waxhaw welcome. We are happy for her to be here.
Ashley, welcome. Good to see you live on the screen today.
Thank you, guys. I'm excited to be a part of the team.
Hope you're getting all situated. I know you've got a lot of support all the way around you. I've heard that you've been meeting with some of the people around our downtown area already. So I like to see that you hit the ground running. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
All right. Any other thoughts, comments to share?
Nope.
All right. Well, you're off the hook again. So move down to presentations, which are 0 tonight on presentations. So we're going to move over to the public hearings. We have public hearing tonight. Consideration, actually presentation of the Town of Waxhaw 2021-22 fiscal year budget. And the presenter will be, once we have a motion to open the public hearing, will be Jeff Wells. So do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Very good. We're going to roll call around one more time. Commissioner Morey.
Commissioner Maury, aye.
Let me move my screen around there. I lost my people. There you go. All right, now we've
Here,
got,
I'll go back out. Sorry.
that's all right. Thanks. Appreciate that. Commissioner Hall,
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Westlake,
Commissioner Westlake, aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McMillan,
Brenda McMillan, aye.
and back up to Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
All right, we are open public hearing. Now we can go to our town manager, Jeff Wells.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, and good evening again, everybody. So let's see. Are we seeing the full screen presentation now?
Yes.
Great. Wonderful. So I am honored and privileged to present the Waxhaw fiscal year 2021-22 budget. So at first, I would like to just give several acknowledgements about this process that we started back in January. I think people sometimes don't realize how long a typical budget process usually takes. So first off, I want to give a big thank you to all of our department heads and their staff for working, very hard through the budget process, particularly the early months of the process where they are gauging their needs and then working with finance to work through that part of the process. Another big thanks goes to our finance director, Rosemary. She handles a lot of the heavy lifting as well as the small time grunt work through this process. She meets with the department heads early in the process. Then she picks up with administration in the midpoint towards the tail end of the process, and obviously works with the board too through all of your check-ins through this process. She's also responsible for the formatting of the budget book, which now is over 100 pages. I think it's like 112, 115 pages, something like that. So it's become quite the document to produce. And then lastly, I want to thank the Board of Commissioners and for your support through this process. This is a process that can't get to the finish line here without your full support. And so your time committed to budget workshops as well as 2x2s and of course the retreat are very much appreciated. And that's what gives us the direction to get to this point. So I want to thank you for that. And so with that, we'll dive right in and right off the top. If you remember, I said just a moment ago that this is a 6-month process. So yeah, we do sneak in some preliminary budget work around the holidays, but it really gets started in January. And the official kickoff of the budget process, what I call budget season, is the board retreat. And of course, that's where we look at global, high-level, big picture issues facing the town. And then we get the direction from the board of where we're going and how we're going to get there. And so with that, the direction, we create the budget. And what we've done this time is we have decided that we want to be more than just a regular operating budget, because we recognize that we are a growing municipality. In fact, we have experienced about 100% growth from 2010. And honestly, that growth really is in the last 5 to 6 years since 2015. So most of that 100% growth has been only for the back half of this last decade. So what that means, we've grown fast. We obviously have more operational needs, but what that has shown, I think, more than anything, is that we are lagging behind in our capital needs. When you have a municipality that has grown like we do, we see now that our facilities are at best inadequate, and at worst downright decrepit in some areas. We've had needs to build new facilities for over a decade, such as the public services, almost 2 decades, the public services building. We're maxed out in a lot of places. We have a lot of road projects. Everybody knows small time road projects that aren't going to get done unless the city, or the town rather, puts the resources together to complete those. Because we know that we can't rely on the NCDOT to come solve all of our problems. Every year, we find out that their projects continue to be delayed for whatever reason. So we know that for some projects that we have the ability to carry, that we have to be looking out for ourselves. So this budget reflects the time and effort spent by town leadership, understanding that Waxhaw required a better plan to address the town's operational and capital needs. So with that, I will be requesting that the board consider 3 motions on June 22nd. The first is to adopt an operating budget and ordinance at $15,451,000, a capital improvement budget and ordinance at $5,129,655.82, as well as the town's first true CIP, or capital improvement plan. And we've chosen to go with a 5-year plan, which I will explain more as we move along in the presentation. Our tax rate, I'm recommending to maintain at 38.5 cents, which has been our tax rate. This would be the 4th year that we would have that tax rate. We've had that same tax rate since 2018-19 fiscal year. So first, the operating budget. And so that is just how it sounds. That is the budget for the day-to-day operation of the town. So think trash pickup, think police, think parks and rec, all of those things. So some of the highlights of this year's operating budget: the trash, recycling, and yard waste, which makes up about $1.5 million of our budget. We have a contract with Waste Pro that still has 2 years remaining on it. They've been providing that service to us the last several years. And we anticipate being just under 7,000 households by this time next year. The police, of course, is our largest department budget. And so we have 30 employees that are part of the police department. And I can proudly say too, that the town just finished completing a refinance process on the police building, which we still are paying the debt on until close to the end of this decade. But we went through a process that saved Waxhaw taxpayers about $112,000 over the remaining life of the loan, where we basically chopped the interest rate in half from what it was, just going through a simple refinancing process. So we are very proud of that. We are entering year 2 of our vehicle lease program with Enterprise, and that will include changing out more of our police vehicle staff, as well as public service and parks and recreation trucks and fleet. So we have the downtown park, and this will be what we call phase 2. We have the project divided up into 2 phases. This, along with the town campus, which you see as the next bullet point there. These are 2 projects, facilities and amenities that we will look to borrow to complete. Of course, the downtown park has been identified in our Parks and Recreation Master Plan as the #1 targeted park need, and it will serve a underutilized area of the town as far as park amenities. So we're very proud to get that going and breaking ground on that this fall. We're finishing up the design work now and expect to go out to bid on that later this summer. The town campus, as I mentioned just a moment ago, and I mentioned the inadequate to decrepit facilities that some of our staff are working in. We had an opportunity to make a good purchase going on 2 years ago now to build a town campus that will house our public services and parks and recreation operations, as well as town hall. And we hope that these buildings will serve this town for decades to come, and we feel very confident that it will. 84 total staff positions. So that's 4 additional positions from last year's budget, where we had 80, and those 4 positions reflect specific operational needs that we have. They include a parks and recreation technician, an engineering admin assistant, a website, social media administrator, as well as an accounting technician. So one thing that the board is aware of, and the public may not be aware of, the building inspections has been in its own special fund for the last few years. We are moving building inspections back into the general fund. Quite frankly, I'm not sure why it ever was moved out in its own special fund. It's supposed to be housed in the general fund, so we are putting it back where it belongs. It's still special in the way that all revenues and expenditures for that are exclusive to building inspections. We can't use revenues from building inspections on any other general fund purpose. So it stays just for building inspection operations. We also spend quite a bit of money on maintaining and paying the streetlight bills, regardless of whether the streetlight is on a town street or a NCDOT street. We pay the light bill, which is over $200,000 annually for the town. I'm also proud to mention our facade improvement program, and this was a key item for the board as well, is to upgrade this program, and tasked our planning department as well as our historic preservation commission to revamp those guidelines. And what we did is we basically brought it back to the former program level. And that was to not only allow for commercial applications, but also for residential applications. And then also not just the front facades, which had been in recent years, but all sides, meaning front, side, or rear. If you want to improve your building in the downtown area, well, we certainly would like to have the opportunity to help you as a business owner or as a homeowner to do that. So we also upgraded the budgetary amount from $25,000 to $50,000 in that fund. And so we will see how that goes this year. So we know that the governor has now started to reduce a lot of the restrictions, which is great news. He still has the state under a state of emergency, but we feel at a good point to where we are now that we can get back to our normal event schedule in the fall. So we are happy to say and announce now that that's what we expect to do. Now that the governor has relaxed the restrictions enough, we feel confident enough in planning those events and getting back to a normal schedule with those. And we're looking forward to that. And then just like all, I think, municipalities and other governments need to do from time to time, is our HR found some good opportunities for some inclusionary training, so that we can just learn and take the opportunity and make sure that we're doing what we need to do in our hiring practices and other areas, just to make sure that we are doing our best to be inclusive in all areas. So those are highlights. So how do those get paid for? Well, revenues. Your biggest revenue source is your real and personal property and motor vehicle taxes. That makes up the biggest majority of what those revenues are. And the second revenue source is sales and use tax. So this is one that in this past budget year, I guess still current budget year, that we had to be very conservative in estimating, because nobody knew how sales tax was going to be affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. But we are fortunate that sales tax was not affected much at all. And so we feel confident bringing that number back up a little bit. Franchise taxes are remaining pretty static. They are state monies that we receive for natural gas, for electricity, telecommunications. Those have been rather static though the last few years. So we did not estimate any increases there. The other revenues, so that is your facility fees. Parks and Rec manages that, as well as plan review fees, anything from construction document reviews to conditional zoning fees, all those type of revenues. But the biggest source now in the other revenue category will be revenue for building inspections. So we also look at our fee schedule every year and make sure that it is up to date. And we have done that like we do every year. So all in all, that brings this up to $15,451,000 would be your general fund operating budget for fiscal year 21-22. So a quick rundown here of department specific, which makes up the biggest amount of your general fund. So these are all pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, Board of Commissioners, administration, finance, tax collections, IT, emergency management. We've now learned through the COVID pandemic that we need to be more mindful of having resources in that budget, which we have done. Of course, you see there building inspections now included in the general fund, as we have mentioned. Sanitation is the garbage, recycling, and yard waste pickup. Downtown Park Phase 1, of course, is included in that, which is a portion of the cost for the infrastructure phase. And then the CIP transfer, which is typically been $175,000 in the last couple of years. Well, when Rosemary and I got through all this process and we had $6,000, we decided that we would go ahead and add that into our CIP transfer when we were finished with our process. The other parts of the operating budget, so we have a cemetery that we operate, and typically the operation runs about $18,000 to $20,000 per year. And so that's what we have budgeted again for this year. We have a couple of transfers. So the first transfer is $289,430.82. So that is what was known as our technology fund. We are transferring that money into our capital improvement fund for use in capital projects. And moving forward, IT expenses will be budgeted through the IT department and the general fund. The inspections, as I mentioned, since we are moving that to the general fund, we have to move those revenues and transfer that into the general fund. And that's what we've done with what we have now in the amount of $1,436,388.70. So one of your financial policies in regards to contingency and how we should budget for 1% of expected revenues. And so that's what we've done. And you find that in the administration section of your budget book as part of that department. And so that 1% comes to $154,500. And so that covers the unexpected items that come up that you have not accounted for in any line item. And they do come up every year that I know everybody is well aware of. Lastly, a fund balance, as we report in our budget message every year. So you remember that we just had our most recent audit report just about a month ago. And at that time, of course, he was reporting on the previous fiscal year. And that amount, the unassigned fund balance at that time was $6.9 million, or 51% of our budget at the time. So now we're estimating our unassigned fund balance to be at $5.5 million because if you recall, the board back in the spring allocated over a certain amount to fund the design and construction administration for the town campus project. And then earlier in the winter, the board authorized the downtown park design. So now that takes the percentage with an increased budget of 15 million. That new estimated percentage is now at 36%, which is still well within our financial policies that we should feel comfortable with. So next, capital improvement plan. So what is a capital improvement plan? So it typically is a plan that lasts anywhere between 4 to 10 years, though most of them are typically 4 to 5 years in length. And so we are choosing to do a 5-year capital improvement plan here in Waxhaw. What it does is it identifies large-scale projects and equipment purchases, provides a schedule for planning and completion of the projects, and of course, it identifies funding options. So what are the benefits of a capital improvement plan? Well, it synchronizes your project planning with your budget. It links the town's plans with its physical capacity, but most importantly, it informs the public about our investment in our infrastructure. Your total budget for your capital improvement plan, as I mentioned before, is $5,129,655.82. So that is your year one budget. That will change every year. This is a budget that we will reevaluate annually and will be adopted as part of the budget on an annual basis. And of course, you see our new logo there that we worked on with our comm staff, and we're very proud of that. And you'll start to see that logo out and about very, very soon in town. So we have several funds that are part of the capital improvement budget: your capital projects fund, capital improvement plan fund, the POW bill fund, small transportation fund, downtown park fund, the TAP grant fund, and the town campus fund. So what is on our capital improvement plan? Well, we have a master list. Right now, we have 57 projects on that list, and we're nowhere near able to fund them all within the next 5 years. So when you have projects that aren't within that 5-year window, we call them future years. And so this is just an excerpt from the first page of that master list. And one thing that I've mentioned to this board time and time again, that as soon as you complete one project on this list, something else, if not more, will fill it in. And we have 57 projects on here right now, but honestly, I've thought of a couple of more projects in the last few days that could be added to the master list. And that list will continue to grow and grow as we continue to grow. So what are we doing in this first year? What are we funding? So I'm proud to announce the different projects that we are including in this year's capital improvement plan. First is the downtown park. Of course, we know where we're going with this on the 10-acre piece of property just south of downtown. We are in the later stages of design of this park. And as I mentioned before, we will be going out to bid in the late summer and hopefully be breaking ground sometime this fall. And so we are very excited about moving forward with that. A lot of different amenities in here will include a shelter, a green, ample parking, nature trails, playgrounds, an amphitheater, sport court. And then we also have some other ideas that are in the design phase now floating around, perhaps a bike pump track, some other natural features, as well as restrooms. So we're real excited about breaking ground on this project with the expected completion date to be within the next 2 years. Town campus. So this is where I mentioned we would have our public services and parks and recreation operations center, as well as town hall. It's on a 17-acre property at the intersection of Waxhaw Marvin Road and Kensington Drive. It's directly adjacent to the Kensington Elementary School, which you see there on that top left image. One of the great benefits about this building, other than being able to adequately house our operations, is you may notice here on the very southeastern quadrant of this property, it's all green space. And it also adjoins Town Creek Park here to the southeast, as well as Nesbitt Park to the south and west. So it not only provides us an opportunity to have adequate facilities to serve the public for decades to come for those specific operations, but it also provides us an opportunity to continue to build and expand our park presence there and connect that property to Town Creek Park and Nesbitt Park to have one giant public space. So here are the early renderings as we are in the schematic phase of this project now. We've had a great collaborative process. The architects we've been working with are amazing. We've had a lot of communication with them, and we're real excited about moving forward and continuing to move forward with this project. So the expected completion date of this will be in approximately 2 years. Next, we have our crosswalks on NC 16, and actually one that I don't have mentioned here on Kensington Drive at Sunset Hill. But we will add crosswalks as well as crossing beacons to key intersections up and down NC 16. I'm sure every one of you that drive up and down that road see how many people walk on that road, and then occasionally see somebody make a run for it across the road. And we are going to make this a safer venue for our people that want to do that. So these crossing beacons will flash when a pedestrian presses the button, and will signify to drivers that somebody wants to cross and give them a safer way to do that instead of picking up an orange flag and waving it into the air and making a run for it. So next is our downtown streetlight replacement project. So we are going to replace all the streetlights in all 4 quadrants of downtown. on North Main Street and South Main Street. We will put in new fixtures. We will make sure that those fixtures are equipped upright to hold banners, as well as provide more of a Wi-Fi presence downtown. But perhaps most importantly, at least to me, is that the sockets that are sticking out of the ground next to many of those poles will go away. I have been guilty of tripping over those things, I'm sure, as other people have. And so that, I think, will remove a big hazard that we have to pedestrians in downtown. The board recently just adopted a resolution to move forward with the Sunbonnet Lane rehab. So that will be included in this CIP. I'm getting survey quotes now to get started on that as we turn the page into this new budget year. It's looking like we'll get the survey part done. Most of them have requested a lead time of 4 to 6 weeks. So you're probably looking at late summer to start working through the subdivision process there to be able to get the street, get the right of way dedicated, and then accept the street, and then move forward into construction to make that inequitable situation much better for an area that was annexed 13 years ago and never received any amenity from the town. Next, we have McDonald Street parking. So we are going to do an upgrade to the southern portion of McDonald Street that has parallel parking, and we are going to add angled parking, add 8 angled parking spaces in front of the McDonald House, as well as the water tower. In addition to that, we are going to open up the community corner, approximately the northern half of the community corner, for temporary parking to help relieve the parking burden. And we are close, and in your leadership report tonight, our staff engineer Orion will give you an update on the status of that, but we are getting close to being ready to open that up on a temporary basis when we are not running events on that piece of property. So East North Main, the TAP grant. Everybody's heard a lot about the TAP grant for a lot of years, and it's been stagnant. But we are happy to say that we are resurrecting the TAP grant. We think those funds will be unfrozen this fall, and we will finally be able to move forward with our design of creating a pedestrian plaza and one-way street on North Providence and East North Main Street. And we're looking forward to making that a more pedestrian-friendly area, as well as adding more angled parking along Providence Street. We're looking to add about 10 additional parking spaces to that area by converting it from two-way to one-way and converting the parallel parking to angled parking. So next we have our bridge steps addition. So we are, in another report you'll get later this evening, is the status of our South Main Street sidewalk project that's going to the mill there at Emmett's. Another part of that project to tie it in completely will be this separate bridge steps addition. Right now, we only have steps everybody's familiar with on the west side of the bridge as you approach NC 75 or South Main Street. We're going to look to mirror that and build steps on the east side. So we will have to get a certificate of appropriateness to be able to do that through our Historic Preservation Commission. And we've started the early work on that in the process of moving forward with that. So we're real excited about that, and that'll be a direct tie-in to that sidewalk project. For the time being, when that sidewalk gets constructed, you come down the west side here, and then there will be a little protected area that will bump out here that people can cross safely over to access the sidewalk and head east to Emmett's and the mill. So Powellville. So I'm not sure if everybody realizes how many miles of town street that we maintain. We maintain 62 miles of street now. We just accepted a pretty good chunk of Milbridge streets into our system. I can tell you that over time and very soon, we receive a little over $300,000 a year from the state for maintenance of our roads, and that is not going to cut it for very much longer. We are going to have to find more resources and more ways to pay for maintenance of the large amount of town street mileage that we maintain, particularly as some of our streets continue to age and require new maintenance. We have a great engineering and public services staff that looks for innovative ways to keep up the maintenance. But I can tell you that that is going to be more challenging to do as we move forward. And of course, the biggest bear, I will say, in our street maintenance is the portion of Kensington Drive that we maintain from the intersection of NC 16 over to Waxhaw Marvin Road. That requires a lot of resources to maintain. Next, we have Nesbitt Park, the drainage project. So you probably recall that we had put in a grant for this through the Lowe's Home Improvement Program. We've not heard the results of that, but whether or not we get that grant or not, we will be doing this as part of our capital improvement plan. Everybody knows that those fields are in a floodplain. So there's not much that we can do when it rains heavily. The water fills up, but we have determined that we can do more to help the water get out as the water recedes over the hours and days after a rain event. Our engineering, parks and recreation, and public services staff have looked at some innovative ways to do that, and we look forward to moving forward with that project as well. We expect this project to be done this late summer or early fall. Barnes Park restroom. Everybody is very familiar with the current condition of our restroom at Barnes Park. Well, we will be replacing that with a new and modern facility, and I believe our Parks and Rec director is working to design that to match the restroom facilities that'll be down at the downtown park as well. And lastly, we have broadband improvements. We will look to improve our fiber optic abilities from the meeting place over to the McDonald House to be able to provide a better and more accurate, I guess you could say, or more effective broadband coverage for public buildings, with also the eye of getting that down to the park, downtown park in the near future. And so this will not only benefit public buildings here, but also benefit other businesses that are along that upgraded line as well. So taking us back to the retreat, and actually 2 retreats ago, we've been looking at the big picture for the last 2 retreats. And now we understand what we are, we realize what we need, we've created the opportunity, and we found resources to reach our North Star. So we realize that we have capital needs. We realize that we have the resources now to be able to serve our public for decades to come in a more effective manner than we are doing now. So the staff recommendation for June 22nd, as I mentioned before, is 3 motions, and that is to adopt the 2021-22 operating budget and ordinance, the motion to adopt the 2022-26 capital improvement plan. That would be your 5-year plan, our first 5-year plan, capital improvement plan in the history of the town of Waxhaw. And then the motion to adopt 2021-2022 capital improvement budget and ordinance. And again, I want to thank everyone for the opportunity to present this budget, the opportunity to work with the finest staff in the southeastern United States. And again, the support that the commissioners have provided through this process, and also the support that I get from our town attorney, Mr. Buckley. Can't leave him out. So we just have a really good team going now. And I'm just really excited for the future of this town. We've done a great job in thinking about the big picture and thinking about what's in the best interest of the town moving forward. And I'm very proud of that. So thank you very much. I need to take a sip of water and probably a throat lozenge, but I'll certainly be happy to discuss anything further. So thank you very much, Mayor.
Very good. Thank you, Jeff. That's quite the impressive presentation. There's a lot of work that's gone into that. And you do know that this entire board, and myself included, really appreciates all the time, effort, and energy that all of you have given to all of us to answer all of our questions during the past 5 or 6 months since we decided to embark on this journey. And as you said earlier, we looked at that in the first retreat of this administration in 2020. So you guys have done a great job of identifying our needs, looking at the reasonableness of where we have to go and how to get there. And I applaud you all for being able to do that. So thank you very much. We've again all been very involved in this process during the last few months. Certainly, if there are any specific questions that anyone might have on that, now's your time. We also do have some comments that the town clerk will be required to read into record. So unless I see hands, anything else? Okay, I've got a couple there. So I saw Commissioner Moray's hand go up first. So Commissioner Moray, you have the floor.
I just had a quick question, and it's not even a question. Jeff, can you just dive in a little bit more into the current state of our infrastructure with regard to Parks and Rec and the public services buildings, and why we actually need the town campus? I've heard a lot of comments this week, and some of them are less than informed. And I don't know that people really understand the current state of our infrastructure, whether it be those buildings or roadways or anything else that the town has decided to take on. Can you just maybe give us just a little bit more of a glimpse? Myself and Commissioner Simpson had the opportunity to tour those buildings, and I don't know that the town really understands what is actually going on in the town. And I think that they're, just passing judgment, if you would. And again, not getting the full scope of it. So if you could just let us know a little bit and maybe describe the situation that exists.
I'll be happy to, Mr. Moray, and I'll start with the public services building. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with its location, but it's on the south side of downtown, adjacent to the South Providence School. And it is a facility, and when I mentioned that it is on the decrepit side, that would explain that building. It's an old cinder block building. Our staff there, of course, has done a great job in occupying and utilizing that space for a number of years. It's something that, quite frankly, is embarrassing. I guess I will go ahead and mention when we have somebody that wants to buy a plot, a cemetery plot. They're walking into a cinder block building with desks and tools and things like that all around. When you're trying to be sensitive to somebody's needs for that type of activity, it's inadequate space. Of course, they've grown out on the outside of it. They've done the best they can with what they have, as everybody does do. They've been in need of a new building for almost 2 decades. And from what I hear is that they have been told that they would get a building for the better part of the last 2 decades, and it has never happened. So the Parks and Rec building, I think most people know where that is located now. That is located over on the north side of downtown. It's what's called the Town Annex building, and it is an old town hall building. It's about 2,000 square feet, I believe, but then there's also a house that they have on the back that they utilize for storage, and then squeeze in all of their fleet in between the house and the building there, along with their hero trailer and everything else that they do. Just like any growing and successful town, they have outgrown that space. They're all wedged into that space, operating the best that they can, but being out in a larger piece of land that provides them the ability to have more of an area for their fleet and for their operations. We found some efficiencies there, though, by grouping them with the public services. We thought that was a good fit for an operations center in one building. Our town hall, most people know where that is located now, off of NC 16. It's an out parcel in the Food Lion Shopping Center. It's an old doctor's building. We've been leasing here now. I think this is our 7th year. And I don't think people realize how much money that we pay to lease this building. We pay $120,000 a year to lease this space. So you multiply that by 7 years, and we're getting close to $1 million spent on leasing. So that is money that we can't get back, quite frankly. And we are maxed out here as well, with the new positions that we're adding and the couple of them that will be here in Town Hall. If we add any more, they'll be in a closet, a bathroom converted, something like that. We do not have an adequate chamber to do our town business. Everybody knows we're pre-COVID where we were doing that was over in the police community room. And, we will continue to do that in person when that time comes very shortly, but it is a grossly inadequate space for our town business now. And so our new town hall will include a chamber that will also be space for workshops, events. You can convert it into tables to have other type of activities there. So it will serve a multi-purpose function. We're allowing ourselves the ability to grow on that campus as we need to over time. And so, those are the current conditions of where we are. They've served us fine in years past, but as we have grown as quickly as we have, it has hampered to a certain extent some of our operation ability.
Thank you, Jeff.
Commissioner Westlake, you had your hand up. You have the floor.
Yes, Jeff, just one more thing. If you could just touch on something that I've seen some misunderstanding in social media. There's a belief out there that we're getting all this COVID money and that it should be able to offset our expenses. And I know recently we've set up a separate fund for this because it will be restricted funds, but if you could just go in and explain maybe a little bit about this fund and what it could be used for, that might be helpful.
Sure. Thank you, Tracy. I'll be happy to do that. So yes, we will receive monies from the America Rescue Plan. We are considered through the federal government as a non-entitled local government unit. We have not received that money yet, but expect to very soon. But we have received guidance that we have a lot of limitations on what we can spend that money on. So really, in short, it's mostly allowed to be used for social programs, which is something that the county does a lot of, but cities and towns do not have many social programs. Now, the good news is that we can hold the money until the end of 2024. And we certainly can find ways through water and sewer, or through stormwater, or through broadband. Those are some specific guidance that we've had that can be used for that, but we can't balance budgets, for example, with that money. We can't, unfortunately, use it for transportation projects. I would love to be able to have another opportunity for that, but it's just not available to us through the America Rescue Plan money that we will receive. It is specifically for the ability to mitigate and improve people's situations as they were affected through the pandemic. And so transportation is not an eligible expense through that program.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you on that. I did not see any more hands. Jeff, thank you for the explanation on that. But before we move forward, we do have a couple of comments from the public, and I'm going to ask the town clerk to read those into the record for that purpose.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So the first public comment we have is from David Cloth. He lives at 3005 Balfour Court. And the comment reads, property in all of Union County was reassessed and values went up. State law requires that the town disclose what a revenue neutral tax rate would be, which you have done. And any 21-22 tax rate that is more than that amount is a tax increase. You cannot camouflage it to make it appear to be anything else. Given a 32 cent per 100 of valuation at revenue neutral and a proposed tax rate and subsequent taxation, the Town of Waxhaw Board of Commissioners are proposing an overall tax increase of 20%. You cannot camouflage it to make it appear to be anything else. To claim that it is anything else is disingenuous at best and an outright lie at worst. My residential property increased in value more than the average for Waxhaw, so I'd expect to pay more in tax dollars than I paid previously, except that under your proposed budget and tax rate for 21-22, my actual tax bill will increase 29.98%. Approximately 20% more than it would under a revenue neutral budget and tax rate. Further, the present Board of Supervisors were elected by Waxhaw voters to accomplish two things: control and manage the runaway growth that has caused much of the mess our town has today, and control expenditures and limit taxes. If you believe you were elected for any other reason, you are mistaken. Further, the proposed 21-22 Town of Waxhaw is loaded with expense that will ultimately burden the taxpayers for years to come. We do not need or want a new town hall. A previous Board of Commissioners tried to take us down that path and we turned them out of the office. Yes, we have payroll tax or expenses, and people have to be paid. They even deserve pay raises. We don't need capital expansion. We do need investment as proposed for anything and everything that will improve traffic congestion. That's it. I, for one, will never vote again for anybody who approves the proposed budget and tax rate. I will encourage every voter I know in Waxhaw to do the same. Okay, so there's a second one. And it's by Frank Edwards at 4111 Citation Oaks Court. This one reads, I would like to express my disapproval of the submittal of the submitted FY22 budget for the town of Waxhaw, specifically the property tax rate to be set by the commissioners. You are setting the rate the same as the FY21 budget. However, with the reevaluations that have been conducted by Union County, you are effectively raising everyone's taxes by 41%. It looks nice to say that the rate is staying the same as that of the prior year, but the reality is that due to the reassessments, everyone's taxes are going up significantly. My house assessment increased by 42.5% over the prior year. My town taxes will now be increased by that much as well. The town commissioners have already snuck through, allowing themselves to stay in office longer. Now you are placing additional financial burden on the residents of the town. I think you guys have gotten drunk on the flush of cash coming from the reassessments. You should be trying to be sympathetic to the homeowners by at least trying to reduce the tax rate down to account for the increase in assessments. However, you are using this as a time to significantly increase the town's budget. I know that modest increases are necessary to maintain services, equipment, and to cover for growth, but not to the tune of 41% in 1 year. In particular, the administration area of the budget is increased almost 75%, Parks and Recreation by almost 64%, and emergency management by 206%. In addition to working to improve the park space, town buildings, and increasing the debt service of the town, staff should really be trying to improve transportation and access to the area. It is really getting difficult to move around the area on Providence Road most days, specifically on any weekend. And that's the end of that public comment.
Very good. Thank you, Melody. Appreciate that. Appreciate those comments. All right, this time we've gone through our presentation. We've heard the couple of comments that we had in here. We're at the point where we're going to ask for a motion to close this public hearing. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Very good. We have a motion to close the public hearing. I'm going to go around the horn. We'll start with Commissioner Hall.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Morey,
Commissioner Morey, aye.
Commissioner Simpson,
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Commissioner Westlake,
Commissioner Westlake, aye.
and back to the Mayor Pro Tem.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Very good. Thank you very much. This public hearing session is now closed. All right, we're going to jump down to old business. This is the decision on the annexation petition on McCorkle Farms. We've heard some of this information before. I am going to turn it back over to our town manager, Jeff Wells.
Thank you, Mayor. And we will go back to full screen. Are you seeing a full screen again?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is the decision on the McCorkle Farm annexation. And just a quick rundown and review. This is a voluntary annexation request that is for approximately 9.6 acres. The parcels are completely surrounded by the town limits, creating what we affectionately refer to as a donut hole. And that donut hole, of course, has been in place for years. This annexation will help to clean up that donut hole. There will be 2 parcels left as part of that donut hole, but this will put a significant dent in that, I guess you could say. Upon annexation, the property would generate tax revenue for the town based on the county's valuation of the site and the town's current tax rate. So right now, your initial zoning on the property would follow finalizing this annexation, start at the June Planning Board level, and of course, reach the Board of Commissioners this coming July. And so again, here is the review are the 2 parcels, just to get your orientation. South Providence, of course, here NC 16s running north and south. And so these total in the blue, a total 9.6 acres. Of course, the subdivisions to the north, the Barrington subdivision and Providence subdivision. To the south is vacant tract of land. The Southern Styles is right here along NC 16, just adjacent to the tract. And just to give you a better idea of the actual donut hole, this is what it looks like on our zoning map right now. The white is county jurisdiction, obviously, with the property directly to the north and west, zoned R3, representing the subdivisions. And we have the two neighborhood center tracts adjacent to the south and east, and then the employment center property, which I believe is the Francis property to the south. So your staff recommendation is motion to approve annexation ordinance 2021-012. And I know that the applicant is along here as well. If you have any additional questions, I will certainly be happy to answer them, or if you have a specific question of the applicant, he can answer them too. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Jeff. So we have before you, it looks like by the map that you have on there, it is truly a donut hole. It's everything surrounding it is in the town limits.
That's correct. I don't know if you can see the cursor here, but you know, the 9003 is the larger parcel, and then this long rectangular parcel is the other piece. So that will leave this 9003D and the 9003C as donut hole properties, but we'll be filling in the rest with this annexation.
Very good. So this request is for annexation only. And so do we have any questions from the board or to the town manager or to the applicant? I think he's listening online. All right, seeing no hands there, I guess we're going to be looking for a motion to approve. So if you make the motion, please state the reason and the annexation, the number, the request, the ordinance. So do I have a motion?
Hi, Mr. Mayor. I'll make the motion to approve annexation ordinance 2021012.
Very good. All right, everyone, we've obviously seen this before, so roll call vote for all of you guys. I'm going to start with Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Commissioner Westlake,
Commissioner Westlake, aye.
Commissioner Morey,
Commissioner Maury, aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McMillan,
Brenda McMillan, aye.
and back up to Commissioner Hall.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
All right, very good and unanimous all the way around. Congratulations to the applicant. We'll be looking forward to working with you in the future. Jeff, thank you again for the presentation on that and all the work that your staff has done again to bring this to a conclusion here. So we're going to jump down to new business. It's the consideration and approval of the Town of Waxhaw financial policy guidelines, which we've gone over before. We're going to be asked for a motion to approve that later, but before we do that, I'm going to have our town finance director, Rosemary, go ahead and speak to it. So Rosemary, the floor is yours. You have to unmute, Rosemary. We're still off.
My apologies.
A do-over.
Do-over. Okay, good morning or good evening, council. I'd like you to consider tonight the approval of the Town of Waxhaw's financial policy guidelines. If you remember, we had spoken about this at the board retreat, and the board had requested that the staff work with Davenport to develop financial policies to meet our vision. So the new policies do several things. They state our financial objectives. They set policies and guidelines for our capital improvement plan. They set commonly used ratios that would be specific to the town of Waxhaw. Moody's, Standard & Poor's, and Finch also use these ratios whenever determining if an organization is worthy to receive bonds. So this would set us up that in the future, if we wanted to apply to get bonds, that we would we would already have these policies in place. It provides an updated reserve policy for unassigned fund balance. It was 30 to 40%, but based on our new guidelines, it would be 30%. It sets budget development policies, and it also provides for cash management policies and investment policies. So this is very important to our financial future. We would like for your vote to approve this, and it will take the place of any prior financial policies that the town had set. Does anybody have any questions on these policies?
All right, see, Commissioner Simpson, you're up.
Just wanted to clarify, so in this document, all the other financial policies have been collected in this one document then?
Yes,
Or
ma'am.
consolidated into this one document?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, anybody else on that? All right, I see no hands, so we're gonna make this one easy as well. We've all looked at this before. I think it's a great position to put us in. It does prepare us for future long range, that if we did need or want to change some of our financing options, this is one of the steps that would put us in a better position to do that. So Rosemary and your crew, thank you for that setup to get us to this point. I know we talked about that on the North Star discussion a year and a half ago. And so again, thanks for the long haul and the work to get us here. So we are now up for a motion. So I'm looking for the motion. Don't you all jump in at once.
Motion to approve the town of Waxhaw's financial policy guidelines.
All right, we have a motion up. I'm going to start with Commissioner Morey.
Commissioner Morey, aye.
Commissioner Hall.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Commissioner Westlake.
Commissioner Westlake, aye.
Thank you, everybody. We're in, so Rosemary, take the next step. I appreciate that. Thank you for all the hard work. All right, we're going to flow down to the town leadership reports. I'm going to start again with our town manager, Jeff. And did you have that lozenge?
No, not yet, but I had enough water. But just one thing to mention, and it's really a reminder from last time, is that we have still not yet received our official count from the town census, and we are expecting that to be received in the month of August. So we are about 2 months away from knowing what that official number is. Of course, we have that expectation of what that will be, but it will not be official until August. So just wanted to mention that again, and we'll be on standby for that when that comes. Thank you.
Very good. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's hard to make decisions without information. So we'll be looking for that as well. All right, we're going to drop down to, looks like Miss Dina is up to bat. So Dina, sign on and it's your turn. Oh, Jeff, I think you put her to sleep. So, yeah. There you go.
It takes me a minute to get on. There we go. Hi, everyone.
Great. Welcome.
Thank you. Share my screen. Right. Okay. Can everyone see the presentation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, here we go. I'm going to go over what's going on for Park and Rec from the last 2 weeks. We enjoyed our first Jam by the Tracks last weekend, and it was a wonderful success. And I just want to say thank you for everybody who was able to come out, and look forward to seeing you in the future. We are still in our June program guide. Our new one will come out in July, and Miss Justine is working diligently to get that ready. So we still have some classes. You can still sign up right now. Senior Coffee is not this Thursday, but next Thursday. And we would love to have you at game day. Walking Club is still going strong. Even with our weather this week, they had a great walk this morning. So please join us Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 with Miss Justine. Pottery class is full, but we've got 3 more classes leading up into July and August coming up. So please keep in touch with us on those upcoming family classes. Charcuterie class still has openings, so please join us next week for that. Tomorrow morning, we have our Hero Project at Nesbitt Park. So please keep in mind that we're watching the weather because we have pop-up thunderstorms that are happening this week. So we will give an announcement if we postpone, but we're ready to go with the sand art and our awesome nature hike to the suspension bridge. So please join us. And the following week, we're going to celebrate our dads with a Father's Day craft at Town Creek. Coming up, not this Friday, but next Friday, we have another Gym by the Tracks. Love to have you. You don't have to sign up anymore. So just come on and bring your lawn chairs. We will have food trucks available for you and have a great night under the stars with us. We have a change in our Juneteenth partnership. We are working with the City of Monroe and a lot of community partners for this event. It is going to be in person now, not a drive-through, at Belk-Tonawanda Park. It's a tongue twister. It'll start at 11. We would love to see you there. The town of Waxhaw's contribution is going to be awesome recreational bags that we're going to be giving out. We have 400 to give out to all of our participants. So love to see you there and for this wonderful event. An update on the park. So we met with the arborists this past week. So y'all know I'm probably one of the tree huggers. So I'm going to try to save as many as I can. So we met with them and they're getting our plan so we can definitely save all of our heirloom trees and our different species type of trees too, because that's going to be a great teaching tool for later on, and just to conservate. So we're doing that. We are a little bit over 50% on the construction documents. We've definitely got the utilities set. Jeff was awesome and made sure that we have sewer and water. So thank you. And we are working ahead on getting the plans ready to go out to bid. At this point, it's going to start rolling faster. So we're excited and I'm looking forward to those gold shovels this fall. As always, we are looking for community partners and to have that community spirit for Waxhaw. So we actually had another family came in for the community corner in the water tower water tank area, and we're getting their information in. So we still have opens at Barnes Park and at Nesbitt and different sections of the Carolina Thread Trail. Love to have you a part of our park system and to help us keep a clean and safe environment. Miss Justine is adamantly at work getting our program guide ready for the summer. If you would like to partner with us on classes or workshops or upcoming events, please give us a call. We want to partner with you. That's one of our main missions. So love to hear from you and to be in touch. And I'll leave you as always with our vision and mission. As we rock and rolling into summer, we love to have you and see you out in the parks. Any questions?
All right, Dina, I'd like to say congratulations and a a good job, well done for the Memorial Day event that we had downtown. Thank you to Dina, Billy, Jimmy, Amy, Joan, and Justine, and all the support staff that was out there. Everything went off like clockwork, even with a couple of misticks. But other than that, it was really great. Got a lot of great comments from people around town, very positive. It was literally nice to see everyone's smiling faces. We probably had 300 out there. Probably that.
Probably a little bit more, yeah, because I think that was the largest Memorial Day participants that we've seen. But it was, again, just like you said, it was wonderful to see everyone, and the purpose of the event is to remember, and that's, I think, really came across. So really appreciate that.
Job well done. Thank you for all that hard work. And again, once again, to all your team, they did a great job. They were in there prepared, and they were out of there just as fast after it was over. So they are very, very well organized. So I know that takes a lot of orchestration, and really applaud not only certainly your leadership, but each and every one of them. So thank you for that. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Comments for Miss Dina around the horn? All right, so we're going to move down to, I think Matt is up. Dina, you're off the hook for a little bit there. So I think Matt is up next. Is that true, Jeff? We got Matt?
So Matt had to attend to a family matter, and so instead you have Orion.
Orion, well, we're always happy to have Orion. Welcome. Happy evening, whatever it is. So Orion, this one is Development Services Director. So you're, well, that's, I already put you in the, I guess there, so didn't I? But floor is yours. So take it away.
All right, thanks for having me. Good evening, all. We have the Gray Byram signal, I'm sure you're all aware of, and that's anticipated to be completed on June 18th. I drove by there today, actually. It just looks like there's pavement and striping, and that's probably more dependent on the weather and just the asphalt placement at this time. Waxhaw overhead street signs are scheduled for installation at a signalized intersection, and that should be happening later this month. South Main Street and the crossing beacons, Jeff mentioned this earlier. We are hoping to get that out and bid mid-July. That's really dependent on some stormwater approval from the state, and that's ready to go. We've done this just this last month. We did over 1,000 feet of thermo that was replaced at crosswalks, stop bars throughout town. And then the final project was another item that Jeff brought up, was this is of a pilot project to the McDonald Street community quarter parking. We're going to provide, and do you have the exhibit for that, Nick? And with that, they're going to be, instead of Jeff's exhibit, which provided, more developed parking on McDonald, the effort is to do here this pilot project. We're going to use the existing 2 drives at that site. If we could rotate it counterclockwise, I think that'd be good. So instead of the proposed entrance, we're going to maintain 2 existing entrances for now until the future plan is developed. And this will provide us 16 to 18 spots. Right here we're showing the 18, but it will all depend on, once we start putting these spots in, the mobility of trucks, getting in and out. We don't want to try to squeeze a spot too close to the entrance that just doesn't fit. So yeah, as though this says 18, it could potentially be 16. And then again, the final design will change. Will be, as Jeff's drawing earlier showed, that there will be just 1 entrance and exit, and we'll eliminate these 2 few. So right now we're waiting on some paving to be done here at these 2 locations. And then we're waiting on the stop bars that'll go at the end of all the spots. Otherwise, we've got the barricades in, and we're pretty ready to roll on that project as well. And this will be basically temporary parking down to about midway of the existing community corner. That will be during times when we don't have projects, or I mean, Dina's, I'm trying, what was the word, parties and, and town festivals going on. And so basically it'll take us about 2 days to get this set up for Dina to have. So basically 2 days before an event, the parking will be eliminated, but we'll have signs here identifying when parking is available and not. We'll be putting stripings at the location of the asphalt entrances and exit, and should be ready to go. We'll have some more parking downtown. And that's it for projects. I'm guessing you guys might have some questions on this one.
Well, I think it's good to see. Thank you, Ryan. I think it's great to see that addition down there. So we've got the potential plus or minus 18 plus the additional parking along McDonald on the south side of the street there as well. So we're probably picking up 22, 23 spaces additionally in that area, which will really help. So appreciate that. Appreciate all your fast efforts. This was kind of the result of a conversation we had, all of us one day, and gosh, by the next day they already had a preliminary layout. So I appreciate the quickness on that. I'm sure that the business owners around that area and will appreciate that. It will certainly help relieve a little bit of the anxiety about parking around there, but got to start somewhere. So again, thank you, and to all the engineering staff that we have to make this a reality, one step at a time, doing that. And East North Main, we're going to pick up probably 30, 40 extra spaces around that area. So appreciate that effort. Any questions for our staff engineer? Around the horn. Okay, very good. Saying none. Ryan, you are definitely off the hook tonight. So thank you for that information. And we'll look forward to having that. You say we might have that partially put in short order? What?
That's dependent on the curb stops. So when those arrive, I'm not sure of the lead time on those. So hopefully we
look forward to that. I'm sure everybody else is too. They may have a party in the parking lot just to celebrate that part. So we're all looking for some reason to celebrate. So appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any comments by the Board of Commissioners? Anybody around the horn have anything real exciting and special to share tonight? All right, well, job well done. I see no hands there. So job well done for everybody for towing the line, getting through all the things that we get through on a daily basis. There's a lot of activity surrounding us. I know a lot of you have been fielding, as I have, some of the inquiries and calls, whatever. It's really tough to go through the information. Sometimes I hear questions asked and I kind of shake my head and say, where did that come from? How did that get started? But thank you. Through social media, we have our jobs cut out for us. So anyway, with that, we have nothing on the closed session tonight. So I want you all to line up, and first one to say, bring the motion forward to adjourn gets it. Who's got it?
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, you guys are killing me. All right, we have a motion to adjourn tonight from Commissioner Simpson. Go around the horn. Commissioner Morey.
Commissioner Morey, aye.
Commissioner Westlick.
Commissioner Westlick, aye.
Commissioner Hall.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
And Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
And this one, Commissioner Baptist, Commissioner Simpson. How about that?
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
All right. All right. I think we're good for the night. Charlie, thank you for visiting us once again tonight. Thank you for all the help you guys do. Thanks to our town staff for allowing us to continue to do that. We look forward to seeing everybody in person real shortly. Be good, everybody. Good night.
Good night, all.